Hello everyone and welcome to week 106. So can we just take a second to think how crazy it is that 106 weeks ago in the second part of my freshman year, I decided to start doing this. If you are at college looking at this, hey! I don't even know why I said that because I haven't even told any colleges yet because I haven't applied. But like maybe they're looking back and they're like, ooh, week 106, that seems like my week. Anywho, so I'm starting off strong. So in my 8th grade year, I don't remember when, I read this book called Night by Elie Wiesel. I think I still have it actually. And something I will never forget is at the end of the book, it basically says, I think I've already talked about this, if you stand or if you don't speak up against something bad, then you stand with the oppressor. And it also talked about the importance of standing up against issues that are commonly happening, because if you don't, then he says like that's what originally led to the Holocaust, was people saying like, I don't have enough power, I don't have enough this, I don't have enough that, or at least that's what I took from it. That might not be word for word, but that was overall the message. And so I really feel like as of recent, I've felt like that's such a call to action with everything that's been happening. And if you don't know, I'm sure you already do, but just with all of the person in Minnesota who got shot by ICE and just all the raids, all the crazy stuff that's been happening, that feels like it's not necessarily cracking down on immigration issues. It kind of feels more like just rampant violence and just targeted towards certain demographics. And just it feels like it comes from a place of hate, not necessarily from a place of wanting to protect. And I think especially with what our nation was founded on, you know, being who you are, getting to believe what you believe in, just being able to be, you know, different people, because our country was founded by immigrants before, well, the natives lived here and then, you know, they got kicked out, which is awful. But our Constitution was made by immigrants. And so to me, it's just kind of crazy that a country that's known as a melting pot and that literally is so strong because of all the different people it's made up of. Like, for example, it was like this math group that won, and it was made up of like all these different kids. And I remember looking at the comments and seeing somebody say like they're winning because they literally took from all of these demographics, not just specifically one. And that's not to say that other countries don't have other demographics, but ours is like kind of known for that. And so the fact that like people coming here for like the American dream and like to make a better life for themselves are getting torn out of their workplace, picking up their children, churches, that just doesn't sit correctly with me. And I feel like that's like kind of what he was talking about, Elie Wiesel was talking about in his book. And so I know saying this isn't like everybody's gonna listen and everybody's gonna stop, but it would feel wrong for me if I didn't speak up and say, this is wrong, this is not what our country was founded on. And even if our country wasn't founded against those beliefs, that doesn't make them right. They're still inherently wrong to say you can't be here because you look like that, or you don't belong here, and so now I'm going to be violent against you. That whole mindset is just no. And if you disagree with me, or if you're a believer of that mindset, you know, I support everyone's right to have their own opinion. Also, this might not be the correct place for you because I can't picture that conversation ending well if you already haven't kind of been like, oh, maybe like it's kind of an odd mindset. I mean, I'm not saying you're not welcome. I just feel like it might not be the place for you. But also, you know, we all have the right to our own opinions, and so there you go. But I just like, looking through things that have been happening, and I know I've been a little distant on that recently. Usually I comment on it. I honestly did not check the news for all of the month of November just because I had so much going on. So I feel like this is definitely a good time to say this, also coming into 2026. And I will admit, sometimes I do worry about somebody seeing this and choosing like to view me differently, or like, you can't come to this, you can't come to that, I don't like you anymore. Also, if somebody doesn't like me because I say I don't support what's happening, like that's the consequence I'm willing to like deal with and face, because I just like, I don't know how I feel being a part of like being friends with somebody or being a part of something that stands for that. And if me executing my freedom of speech ruins my opportunity for something, I feel like that's like infringement upon some right that's probably there. So yeah. Also, you don't have to go put yourself in harm's way. You don't have to go like do crazy stuff. I feel like just stating your stance and bringing awareness to the issue and pointing it out is enough to make a difference and is enough to change mindsets. Because I think if I were to be in this situation where this was happening to me, I would want other people to care and I would want other people to speak up and stand against it. And that doesn't mean that you have to go beat somebody up. That doesn't mean you have to go stand out in the street for hours if you don't want to, if you don't feel safe. Just simply stating it and standing against it and taking any opportunity you're given to stand against it, that's enough to me. And I know some people will say like, oh, you say stuff, but that doesn't do anything. Also, like, it's not like there's just like an emergency stop button where I can just be like, no, this is bad, stop it. Like, and I feel like that's something I've always really thought, but I'm now like realizing, like, in the Constitution, it says like, if these, okay, this isn't word for word, but like, if the system stops working, then get rid of it. So they forgot to give like a step-to-step manual on how to do that. So, you know, in some situations, it's kind of like, girl, what can I do? But like I've said, you can use your words. And also, I just feel like at least letting people know that they're supported is like a good thing to do. So that's my stance on that. And I really hope that this situation comes to an end and that there is justice for all of the wrongdoings that have happened, because boy, have there been a lot. And I'm not going to detail all of them, but I feel like, I feel like it should be clear. Once again, it's hard whenever I'm talking to my phone because I don't know if like the person watching this is like, what is she talking about? Or if they're like, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. And I say that a lot. Also, I talk to myself a lot on this screen. So, yeah. Okay. So, another topic I wanted to talk about. This is like a pretty big switch, but I wanted to talk about, first I can pause. Let me think for a second. Okay, moving on to the next topic. Today, this is just like hard conversation after hard conversation. So before my break, I unfortunately did get metal thrown at me by somebody in my class. I feel like I've already talked about this. That's what I was thinking about. I don't really know. And so you might be like, wow, KG, that's like depressing as hell. Yeah. So it definitely wasn't an ideal situation. And also I feel like there will be people like, why are you telling this to the general public? I also just like, I like being an open person, and that doesn't get me very far sometimes, and it's honestly not done me too well a few times. but it's also just like who I am. And I feel like if I want to say something, I should say it. And I know that there are consequences that come with that. And I'm not saying I necessarily want to face them, but I also would rather be myself than like lose the part of myself that likes to speak, which is a trait I've had since I was born. And so I feel like if it's like lose myself, face consequences for my actions, which I'm gonna do either way, I'm just gonna choose that one. So I got metal thrown at me in one of my classes, and like, yeah, people always ask what kind of metal. Like chunks, I think. I don't really know. I didn't see them very much, but anyhow. And it's like, I only got hit by it once, but it was just the act where I was kind of like, oh wow, this is odd. And I don't think it was necessary. It wasn't really a situation where it's like, oh, they hate me, like they're gonna shove me in a locker. It was more of just like people being like childish, which normally I can deal with if it's not in the form of physical violence. But that just felt, I was kind of like, what the heck? And so this has never happened to me, mind you. So I'm kind of sitting there and I'm like, all right, when's Wake Me Up by Avicii playing? Like, cue the music. But it felt very Disney Channel bully-esque, and I just didn't really know what to... Oh, hold on. I'm receiving a call. All right, third time's the charm. The second time got deleted because it was literally 4 seconds of me speaking, and then I got another call. And I literally just called the person back. So, okay. Where I was, I don't really know what to do about the situation because I was kind of like, this never happened before. And so, anywho, yeah, that happened. I'm not going to go any deeper to it at the moment, but yeah, moving on. Another thing I wanted to discuss, this is like a huge vibe change, is like how interesting I think it is that like some people just become famous overnight. And like, I think it's funny because a majority of people react to it the exact same. They always say like, I didn't expect this to happen. And like, especially on TikTok, where people go, here's a part 2, I didn't expect that to blow up. Because I think it's funny how many people like make these really elaborate, really cool videos without even, or really cool stories without even realizing that like how interesting they are to people. But also I think the TikTok algorithm is just luck. So what I'm talking about in reference to this is Heated Rivalry. I really love that show. And how I was watching Hudson Williams's time on Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah. And the crowd started cheering for something and he literally went, and that killed me because I feel like a lot of the times whenever people become famous, like they don't really show like kind of reactions like that. Like they always seem like very like blank-faced. I think that's media training. I don't really know what it's called, but I thought it was cool how he did that. Like how he I thought it was cool how he expressed his emotions. I thought it was cool how he like reacted to that. I also think like that's like very realistic. And so yeah, I'm hoping and praying that the cast, especially the 2 main characters, don't become like bitter about people harassing them, because I feel like that's a very reasonable reaction. That would also be like really sad. So yeah. And this is your daily reminder. Don't harass people. It's rude and weird. I notice a lot of people will like have no shame just saying random stuff to people they've never met. And like that's fine to a certain point, but whenever it's like somebody's like you say stuff and it's just like, why do you feel comfortable saying that to a stranger? Sometimes we just all need to have more awareness, and also sometimes people just don't really like understand the concept of boundaries, I guess. Also, like, that's important to understand, because I don't really know how to explain why it's important. I feel like as of recent, there's been a lot of questions about like basic empathy and like why we should have it. And I don't really know how to explain why it's important. I feel like the other day I was talking to my brother and I was like, you either get it or you don't get it. Like, I don't know how to explain it to you. And he was like, tell me what there is to get. And I'm like, it's basic empathy. Like, how do you not understand that? But some people just don't, which is like just frustrating. But anywho, I honestly feel like it's so upsetting to watch people like get slowly slowly become more like hardened to the outside world because of people just being like kind of awful to them. So I'm crossing my fingers that this won't happen, because I really like it whenever people are open and talk a lot and like just feel comfortable where they are, and making other people uncomfortable is just like, no. Also, don't do that to me, please. I think about it. I guess that's a good streamline. And I'm not saying like when I'm gonna wake up and be like, oh, 100 million followers, like, oh wow, hello. But yeah, some things like we just keep in our heads, or like we just keep scrolling and we don't like say them. Not like I'm like getting hate comments or anything, but like also I just feel like that's a nice disclaimer to make. Also, I feel like I shouldn't really have to make that disclaimer, but maybe it'll be important in the future. So yes, please don't say crazy or like incredibly offensive things. That would be great. Makes my life easier, makes your life easier, makes everyone's life easier. Okay, I think that's all I have for right now at the moment, and I hope there was something that you took away from this discussion about 3 very different topics. All of them important, one of them being very prevalent, and I really hope if you take anything away, take the fact that we need to stand up for each other and stand with each other. Okay. Turns out I'm not done. So I just looked at TikTok and I saw the exact same Jimmy Fallon interview I was talking about. And then I realized like this is public, and if I literally ever saw my face, like a video of mine, like on a big screen on a TV, just randomly one day, I think I would lose my crap if I wasn't aware of it being there. And also the fact that like the people who I'm talking about, like I feel like I can't say their names because that just seems so weird, because like if they watch this, I would just be like, oh, this is so awkward. Maybe it's not that awkward, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just an awkward person. But I like to not say people by name on here, because then I feel like if I see them, I'm like, oh, I was talking about you. Well, obviously, if it was anyone in my personal life, I wouldn't say their name because that's like disrespectful. But like, obviously, they're famous. Still, no, no, please don't do this to me. Oh, that would be so uncomfortable. But like, also, maybe it wouldn't. I don't know. But the thought of them being like, hey, you were talking about me, I'd be like, oh, I was. Funny to meet you in person. Even though I've been talking about you before. That's like wholly parasocial. It's okay. All right, all 15 of you, promise not to say anything. Okay, bye. Okay. Looks like a worm. Okay, I feel the need to come back at y'all with another video, because okay, number one, I know I said it would be like kind of embarrassing, but like also I feel like it would only be embarrassing if like they were like upset that I was talking about them. But it doesn't make sense that they would be upset that I was talking about them. If you can't tell, I process my emotions vocally. It would make sense for them to be upset that I was talking about them if they're famous, because if somebody was talking about me, I would be pumped. But also, they're not me, so I don't really know. But I've already said I'd be embarrassed. But like, I feel like I would be excited if they were excited, and embarrassed if they were upset. But I can't picture them being upset, so I think I would be excited. But like, I don't really know. I feel like also a part of me would be like, because I talk a lot. Duh. But like, usually the people that I talk to are like either near me, and so like I know who's listening. And also, like, I think 90% of the time they're not really listening to what I'm saying. Actually, now I feel like people listen more to what I say. So like maybe like 40% of the time they're not listening. So like, but there are some people, if you listen to everything I say and you don't judge me and you don't look at me like I'm an idiot or like look like you're waiting for me to stop talking, you're awesome. So thank you. And that's to people in my real life. Also, if you do that here, I appreciate you. What was I gonna say? Also, as I was talking about with people who become famous overnight, if I ever were to become famous overnight, I hope y'all know, like, if I ever went out, like, on national television, I would totally, like, I feel like I would say something I'm not supposed to say. Not in, like, a negative way, but more in, like, a just clueless way. Because sometimes I just feel like a dummy. Like, oh my goodness. Did I ever tell the story of how, I think I did. Like, whenever I went to Japan over the summer, and I was just an absolute mess on that plane. I, like, oh my goodness. Wait, we're gonna do a recap of the story. I get on the plane, I give myself a paper cut with the ticket, then then I sit down for too long and somebody takes the spot where I was supposed to put my backpack. Then I go, and it was one of those planes where it was like line and then like seats. And I wasn't on the plane with like my parents. I've never flown without my parents because I was with my school. And so like I didn't really know what to do with myself. And so then I like go and I'm trying to put my backpack up. I don't realize I'm blocking the line until somebody starts like squeezing past me, and I was like, oh crap, I'm in the line. And then the Sprite falls out of my backpack, lands on this lady. She was pissed. I don't even think I was supposed to have Sprite on the plane, but I was trying not to be wasteful. It ended up getting thrown away anyway. Sorry, Sprite. Then I walk back over, and then the man who's sitting next to me, he was like, hey, like, I think there's stuff over there. There is nobody walking on that side. So I just created this whole line for no reason. And so I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. So then I go to the other side, and I finally get my backpack up, and then I forgot to get my phone charger out of it. So I'm sitting down, my phone's about to die. I don't even know where the charger is. I'm like, and also, before this, I was like, hey, I just need a piece of gum. Now that I'm sat down and I'm finally done bothering people, there was probably something else I forgot. And then I like squeeze my gum out. It flies halfway down the aisle, probably hits somebody. And I was like, get me off this plane. Mind you, I've been on this plane for all of 15 minutes. And so after I get off of it, one of my friends goes, you're like a bull in a China store. And I was like, I kind of feel like that right now. And for the longest time, I thought she was saying like a bull, like an antique bull in a China store. And then I realized she meant the animal. My hand's shaking right now because I literally just drank a Dubai chocolate matcha, but like I haven't eaten anything and I need to get on that. Anywho. And so then I sit down, and the man next to me is like, what are you looking for? And I was like, I can't find the phone charger. And so then I finally find it, and then I was like, shit, I don't have my charger. And then he gave me his charger, and I said, thank you so much. Shout out to that man. He was incredibly helpful. And I'm not gonna lie, I did get a little concerned that he was gonna be a creep because you never know these days. And then I looked down and I saw his wedding ring, and I was like, maybe he's not a creep. He was not a creep. I also was not about to try and find out. So I said, thank you so much. I got off that plane. And like, I didn't say thank you again because it felt, one, kind of excessive, and two, like, I was like, I'm not trying to get followed home. So yeah, shout out to that man. I appreciate you. And I hope your wife is doing well. Anywho, so that whole story, just to say, like, whenever I say I feel like I would mess something up, I don't mean like, oh, I would like, well, it depends on like different interpretations, but I feel like I would just like do something stupid, which like is also very in character for me. And like, it's not necessarily something I dislike about myself. I will just say I feel like I need to put it out there. Not saying like I'm gonna be on a like Tonight Show tomorrow. I mean, I wouldn't even know what to wear, and I have school tomorrow. But if somebody was like, hey, you want to come be on my Tonight Show, and it was like not like a scam, I'd be like, girl, sure. Like, I mean, I guess, math class isn't that important. I can always catch up. But yeah, so also I can't picture myself ever not being like I guess the word is like human, which duh, but like open, I guess. And if I'm ever not open, that either means I'm sad or I'm upset. So that's probably not a good sign. But yeah. I just like, and then also, oh, there's the whole thing, like, I'm not in the mood to get called like, oh, she's so cringy, like, oh, please leave me alone, like, I'm just trying to be myself. I like, and then every time I say something, I'm like, I think of something bad somebody could say about me, and I'm like, you know what, it gets to a point where like I just literally have to say I don't care, because I've already reached that point in like real life, but like also I feel like on virtual life it can get bad. Like there can just be people who are like, oh, she like I do one thing wrong and they're like, oh, she's evil. I'm evil. Nobody told me I'm evil. What am I supposed to do now with my evil self? Um so yeah, that's like a little spooky wooky to me. But I just imagining myself speaking to somebody live, it's like scary. Like I would need to watch my responses, because I feel like some things can get misinterpreted very easily. But also, if I mean it in a nice way and it gets taken out of context, like there's not much I can do about it other than like speak about it here. But I feel like that wouldn't do me very many favors. Maybe I need a manager. I don't know. I feel like me and my 15 subscribers do not need a manager, but you never know. Anywho, one thing I really don't like is whenever like people get famous and then they stop like being like who they were whenever they were on like day one. Obviously, people are gonna grow and develop, but like it's like if I started going like, now everybody, like if I just like changed completely who I was and just wasn't no hate to people who do that, by the way. That seemed rude. But if like that's just the opposite of what I do. Like I don't know. I'm just like a mess 90% of the time. But I'm an organized mess. Like I'm not just like all over the place. I don't know what I'm doing. Like I look like I don't know what I'm doing, but I do. You just couldn't see that if you don't see things from my perspective. And from the way I've seen it, a lot of people don't see things from my perspective, which I think is great. Also, whenever it comes to standardized testing, it kind of sucks. But I've learned to conform a little bit, but I like to tell my brother I'm a non-conformer. I learned how to say that in Spanish, but I forgot. So all of this to say, if your girl ever becomes famous overnight and I get my 1 million subscribers, I hope you know, number one, my goal is to not let the fame get to my head, which I already like don't do, I think. And number two, I'm like, ooh, I feel like I could be like considered as media trained, but I don't really know what that means. But like if you see me on live television and I say something and it's like, I mean, I feel like I don't want to say this and then it's like I go up there and I'm like, I literally just do fine. But also, knowing me, I'm probably going to do something that's like a little silly, a little goofy, but girl, whatever. Anywho, bye. Okay, hello everyone. This video should be quick. All it is to address, like, so I feel like on social media, a new trend has, hold on. Okay, as I was saying, I feel like a new trend, or well, not really a new trend, it's just kind of like an aspect of it, is like trying to make everything seem perfect and just like picking out the most perfect moments. And I think like this is just like me telling you, like, I think the best part of like social media, because if you can't tell, I really enjoy it, is like showing like the little traits of you. Like whenever I make my Instagram posts, seriously, like I want to make it like how I view my life, like, or how I viewed my year, or like how my year was, but like from my perspective, because obviously, like, other people might see my year differently than I see my own, just because, like, perspective is relative, and also, like, everyone has a different view of you as a person and also me as a person. So I just like make it a very important point to like include like the little things and also like the imperfect moments, because those are the ones that always make me laugh the most, and I feel like they show the most personality. Like whenever you scroll through my Instagram feed, like if somebody was stalking me, I would want them to know like who I am as a person, or like at least get a good like grasp of it, and I feel like my Instagram gives a good like example of that. Like in one of the videos, I was like, one of my friends was holding me, and his hands were like, he was holding me like this, and his hands were like shaking because he's weak. Anywho, yeah, so he's holding me like this. Also, I think it's hard to hold anyone like this, but yeah. And then so like, and also we were laughing, and it's such a cute picture, and like I have such a double chin in it, and that's like one of my favorite parts, because why is my alarm resetting? Why is it so loud? Okay, I loved that picture the most because like the lesson I wanted to give is like, show the parts of you, like show who you are as a person. And I think the fact that I'm literally always laughing is shown through that picture. Like, also, I want, like, if like a little girl or like a younger girl is like looking through my Instagram, I want her to see that like it's okay to show like different parts of yourself and not like be ashamed of who you are, because I think a lot of like beauty standards are really pushed through social media. Like, you have to look like this, you have to look like that, and girl, sometimes that's just like that's not realistic. I think it's so much more fun whenever you show like realistic things, and like also things that are just like goofy. Because I think a lot of the times it can become overwhelming, where it's like, oh, this person's life seems so perfect, and like, oh, it seems like they're having a great time. Truth is, I don't think anybody's necessarily having a great time. I think a lot of people are just really good at hiding it, which, wait, for the longest time, I've wanted to do like a whole analyzation of my Instagram, but like I haven't, because like there's people who don't know about this who I don't want to show, but honestly, I kind of want to do it. I'm not going to show them, obviously, but I'm going to do my bios. Not bios, captions. Okay, the one I was about to mention was, turn this down. Nope, too low. Literally, in spring of 2025, which was literally number one worst time of my life ever. My caption was, she is having the time of her life, and that was referencing I Can Do It With a Broken Heart, because the majority of my captions are song lyrics. So literally, it's, she's having the time of her life, star emoji, sunset emoji, cartwheel emoji. I hated it. I was suffering. So yeah, the one I just made was It's Been a Long Year. It's been a long year. That's a lyric from Everywhere Everything, which I wanted to make my my song on it, but I ended up making it something else. And then there's one from the theater production I did, and it's Ordon Cheer number 2 signing off. And then my next one was Guess Who, because I hadn't posted in a minute, and I think it's cute. I like that one, because like I said, like you can see my personality showing through. Like, that's something I always go, guess who, and like they can obviously see it's me, but I think it's funny. My Japan one was Komorebi, because that means like the light shining through the trees, and I found it on a TikTok comment section, actually, because I was looking for my bio, and it's a Japanese word, and I feel like that reflected where I was at in my life, because you kind of had to find the happy parts. And so I'm happy that, like, I think that's a really cute one. And then this one from New York is To Be Young and in Love with New York City. The original lyric is To Be Young and in Love in New York City, but I wasn't young and in love, so I just changed it to In Love With. And then I did 2024 Unseen Images. That's my year recap. And then the next one was She Lives in the Sky. That was Chase Atlantic. I don't really like this comment, but like that's what I thought of, I guess. Then my like homecoming one was so much to do and only so many hours in a day. That's from Vienna. Chasing Little Fairies. That's from my summer dump. I made it that because one time I was like just chilling on my bed and I was like meditating and I had just woken up and I was like, wait, I literally don't care about like anything and I just want to chase little fairies. And so that's where I came from. And it's from the TikTok sound, I'm not worried about a job or school so much because I'm busy chasing little fairies. And so I feel like that's a reminder for me to just like do just that. Encontré a beleza dentro imperfeição. That's Portuguese. I was on a long freaking drive in Portugal and I thought of the bio, find the beauty within the imperfect, which honestly that should probably be my bio, but it's not. I think it's a cute like bio. I also really like it in the context of this post because like so much of the stuff I took in this post was just like not perfect. And that's why I thought of it, because I was like, some of these posts are just a wreck. And this was my second post after choosing to like lock in on my social medias, or maybe it was my first after choosing to lock in. This one was Wildest Things in the West. This is one where I didn't really gaff about social media. Well, I did, but like not as much as I do now. 2023 KG's version. 8+7, 6+9 wasn't approved by my mom. I think that was funny. Hoko 23, Living for the Hope of It All. Why is my computer doing this to me? That's a lyric from August. To live for the hope of it all. Next Chapter. That's a Taylor Swift lyric from The Story of Us. That was my 8th grade graduation. I gave my blood, sweat, and tears for this. That is from my Taylor Swift concert. Lyric is pretty self-explanatory. And that is from What If, Should've, Could've. No, that's from You're on Your Own, Kid. A Little Hall of Life. I googled that. That's just like yeah, it's just like a dump. This one was just the theme of the event. KG's Life 22. Friends Who Slay Together Stay Together. That was also googled. LA. I actually went back and changed that one. I don't know what it was before. It was like spent some time at the beach with my family. Yay. And then my first one is there's more to life than stupid boys, you know. And it originally had parentheses around it, but then I got rid of the parentheses to make it more like less of a quote, more of like a I'm talking to you. Because it's my first post, so if anybody stalks me and wants to see what my first post is, I want them to see that too. Never forget. And then my bio is a lot going on at the moment, and it was a wish on it, and it was like a shooting star emoji, which I thought was cute. But like also that one was temporary, and then before that it was working on it because I couldn't think of a better bio, and before that it was the best people in life are free. That's a lyric from New Romantics. And before that it was not over dramatic, I know what I want, and that's a lyric from Super Graphic Ultra Modern Girl. And I kind of want to change it back to that one because I really like that one. And people would always open my Instagram and they would go, not over dramatic, I know what I want. And I was like, exactly, you got it. But this is a lyric from the Red Shirt, and I saw it while I was watching the Taylor Swift documentary, and I was like, that needs to be my bio, because the original one is not a lot going on at the moment, but I changed it because there usually is a lot going on. And the song that I decided to attach to my profile is Who Says by Selena Gomez, specifically the part that says, I'm no beauty queen, I'm just beautiful me, because that's the message we want to give. And so, you know, you can say like, oh, that's so cringy, but like, then again, if loving who you are is cringy, then I want to be cringy. So that is where I'm at right now. I like have work I should probably be doing because it's 10:23, but instead of doing that, I kind of watch some TV. I was indulging in my TikTok, which is not a good idea. Hashtag revival of TikTok addiction again, but it's fine because now I'm learning like more useful stuff. And I was trying to figure out how to do my taxes. I still don't know. Oh, also, I guess I should say my highlight names. In the wild, that's me doing stuff outside. Sunsets with a Z. That's a reference to the Cigarettes After Sex song. Pretty, that's just stuff I think is pretty. For fun, hobbies, calm surf, community service, exploring, that's me leaving my house, and hearts. So yeah, that's my Instagram. I'm like exhausted. Today at work, I was just like so like I wasn't necessarily tired, but I was also like ready to leave. I do enjoy my job. It's just harder whenever it's on the weekends, because then I know like, oh, like I don't get a break from school ever, like I don't get to sleep in, but it's fine, or whatever. So I'm about to go pick out my outfit for school tomorrow. I want to wear my hair down. And then I'm gonna, oh, I need to shower. I love showering. And then, especially now, I love my body wash, because like I said before, I kind of felt like a troglodyte while I was showering, because it was just like a rough time. Like I didn't like my soap. The whole thing just felt very mechanical, very like industrial, and I just was not here for that. And now it feels more like a ritual, and I feel happy doing it, and I love the smell of my soap. And I also love my body brush. It is kind of like in that phase where it like doesn't foam up very quickly, and it kind of PMO, but it's like getting there. My bath rug is gone though, so I'm gonna put a towel down so I'm not just trekking across my tile floor, hopefully I don't trip. And then I'm gonna wash my face today. I used my kombucha serum that my esthetician gave to me. Oh, I love it. Every time after I put it on, I'd like sniff my hands and I go, it smells amazing. And then tomorrow I kind of want to drink the kombucha I got from, I don't even know where I got it from. Oh, Target, I think, with my gift card. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great Monday. I should probably go to bed. I'm not gonna do that though. Also, I've been watching Bob's Burgers a lot, and let me just say, I love their family dynamic so much. I think it's the cutest thing ever. And I saw this video, and it was like Bob Belcher aesthetic, and that made me like be like, Linda, I understand you. I love that family. I think they're so cute. Okay, and I am only referencing that because I was like smiling at the camera, and I was like, I'm giving Louise Belcher like serial killer smile right now. Anyhow, okay, bye. It's probably gonna be the end of the week, so you know what? I just checked my final grades for the semester, and I saw 3 B's. I've never really finished with like 1 B, let alone like a B minus, B, and a B plus. So that was definitely like hard to see. But I honestly feel like I've reached a point in my life where like I've just decided, like, because I've already said this in like 7th grade, I was like, oh, I need to stop working so hard or else I'm gonna burn out. Well, it's junior year and I'm not burned out, but honestly, like I don't have the energy to be upset about like that and do the rest of my life and like just like process my emotions and live the life I'm living. And so I'm at a point where honestly, like all I can say to myself is like literally like I just don't have the energy to care anymore. Like I just don't care anymore. And like, yeah, it's definitely not ideal. It's not an ideal situation. I also like, I'm okay not being perfect necessarily. And I think like I'm finding my own ways. And in some classes, the only way to succeed is to shove myself into a box. And I can only do so much of that because I'm already trying to get ready for my ACT and my SAT. Yes, I'm taking both. And also I'm a new student at a harder school. And I'm at a point in my life where like I literally can no longer force myself to care about numbers on a page as much as I used to, because it's just so freeing once you decide like the world is gonna keep spinning if I see a B plus, and it's gonna keep spinning if I see, honestly, math was just a lost cause. Like I have to be so honest, math was just a freaking lost cause. And not saying like the majority, all the classes that I got B's in are 4-year classes. So I can always do better, and I'm like obviously working towards that. And I can like kind of, put myself in a box maybe for like an hour. I really don't want to do that because here's the problem. Last year I was in this English class and it basically taught me like find your own writing style. You're gonna do bad if you don't find your own writing style and write like an actual person and not a robot. And then I come here and like I have to write like a robot again. And so it's hard like whenever I'm like, yay, freedom, I finally found myself after doing bad because I couldn't find myself well enough. And I'm like, oh no, now I have to go back in my box. Like, oh. And I just think like this shows how exhausting being a student is because like especially in high school, not only are you told literally 90% of your problems are insignificant, which like, okay, thanks, that was so helpful, but also it's like you feel like just like slapped to the face, and then it's like, all right, here's your next assignment. Like, okay, thank you. So that makes me so inspired to go do better on the next one after I feel like I just got like, pooped on. So, and like I like just checked my grades and I didn't do well on my last Spanish test, so my Spanish grade dropped. Great. And my math grade was just a freaking lost cause, and I worked hard on stuff for history, and of course didn't go well. History's never really been my thing. I find it incredibly hard to care, but especially with recent events, I've like been like, okay, now I see why it's relevant. But also I just feel like in my history class it would be great if we didn't have DBQs. DBQs are what are single-handedly kicking me in the face. And the problem is a lot of the stuff is like graded in like a very specific way, and like obviously what would help me, which I know, is to grade it with AI, but I was like, I don't want to kill the environment, I don't want to kill the trees. At this point I'm just kind of like, girl, screw them trees, because I want to get a good grade in history. And it's sad that I have to put away my own freaking morals to do well in a class, but that's where I'm at. So if you can't tell, I'm like kind of upset about this, and like I would be more upset if I had like I just know, I guess I'm like mentally stable now, but like after the break, honestly, I like just looked at grades and I just like accepted the fact that like no, I'm not perfect and it's not going to be perfect. And honestly, like I want like, cuz what I'm worried about is colleges. Like, and I've been worried about this since I was in elementary school. And now my grades are dropping. Oh, lovely. Great. Now you're dropping. Thank you so much for that. Like, what lovely timing. My junior year of high school. But it's okay. It's great. It's great because your grades are inevitably gonna drop your junior year because it's harder. And I think, like, in my head, I'm telling myself my junior year hasn't really been that hard. It could probably be harder. I feel like I'm also like underselling myself because I work really hard, and sometimes I just can't give my 100 to stuff, because if I give my 100 to like a minuscule homework assignment, then what the heck am I going to give to my writing assignment? Like I have to divvy it up, and not saying I don't give a lot of effort, but sometimes for some assignments my 75 feels like my 150. So I'm trying my best out here, guys, and I have to write this whole thing. It doesn't even say how long it needs to be, so God knows. Thank you so much for elaborating on that, so I'm just gonna figure it out. Great. And I'm writing about myself as a writer, and honestly, I feel like this is gonna be cathartic for me, because right now, I'm kind of feeling like a big fat dummy, but it's okay. Anywho, as I was saying, so what I'm worried about is colleges, and I guess this is like a good message for me that like in college, I'm like, it's just like I feel like it's me like learning to accept the parts of myself that just don't do as well on stuff, which is like not easy and not really fun, especially having to explain, hey, so I was trying to like find myself and that's why my grade dropped. I'm sure they're gonna be like, yeah, all right, next. So I just feel like overall as a year, I think my school year has felt so much better. I felt so much less stressed, and I felt like I'm getting crap done. But it's hard to do that whenever you're literally getting graded like on a linear scale. Like I'm like so ready to just like be graded on how well I perform and how like well I do in my life. Like if I do stuff, does it succeed or does it fail? That's what I want to be graded on, not how like well I can, like not like on a freaking multiple choice quiz on a video. Oh, but that's kind of what school is. And if you can't tell, I've kind of had enough. I feel like my graduation year should have been like, I don't know, sophomore year, because this isn't doing it for me. And if you can't tell, I am not planning on going into law or medical school. I think that would kill me mentally. So, and not all of this to say that my school is like so hard and it's killing me, but also there's just so much that I have to do on a daily basis. And it's not like on the weekends, oh, I get to lay back and like get my work done. No, honey, I'm working. And then after that, I'm so tired of speaking to people that I need more of a break. So it's great. It's great. It's lovely. If you're wondering how my life's going, it's great. And so anywho, now I'm going to write this and try and make it grammatically acceptable and, try my best to just kind of feel like I'm doing stuff. But also, it's frustrating because if I hadn't just checked my grades, I would have, not that I feel bad about myself necessarily, but I feel like I'm doing everything so well, and yet that's what's happening. And I think maybe that's a sign that, I'm just not meant to be perfect, because at school, it was never, I did try hard, but it was also something that I could just do. And I feel like ever since I've had my cute little brain fog moment, it's just not something that comes naturally to me anymore, which is incredibly frustrating and aggravating and upsetting. And it's something that I've had to work really hard to learn to just kind of accept and not lose my crap over. If you can't tell, I'm still navigating that road. I also think I'm just not meant to be graded like this. I'm not meant to think like this. This is just a new version of KG, and it doesn't fit into this box that I've just been shoved into for so long. Please free me from my box. I've had it up. And especially the word GPA. Oh, it used to be fun, but it's not fun anymore. I'm so done. I miss being able to look at the end of a semester and being yay, yay, oh, my hard work was worth something. Now I'm looking and I'm yeah, that seems about right. Okay, next. Because it's at a point where I felt like I was in an assembly line and I was okay, this is kind of harder, but I got it. But then I feel like I just got to a point where okay, I'm done. And I feel like I've told myself I'm saving all this energy. In reality, I just kind of feel like I've been bummifying myself now. And so I kind of need to tap into that energy, but also I'm saving it for something that I'm not really sure of. So maybe that'll end up being important. I'm just highly upset about this, and I still have crap to oh wow. Oh, good morning. Oh god, it was bright. So this is probably the end. This is kind of how it feels to be a student these days, at least for me. I've had quite enough, but I still have a year. And it's not like my old school where senior year was yay, it's a breeze. No, it's actually gonna be hard. Great. And I also have to take AP Gov. Because I'm not taking it this year because I'm in freaking US history. I don't want to be in that class. And I never want to hear those two words again in my life after this. Yeah, this also just gives me flashbacks to chemistry last year. I passed that. I don't even know how the heck I got through that class. That class was miserable. I am so happy I never have to go back there. I despise chemistry now, and I never want to hear that word again. I never want to be in a chemistry class again. I don't care if it's the best class in the world. Please. And same with biology. I'm done with biology too. I don't science is just not my thing. I'll self-study science maybe in 20 years whenever I'm over high school. But no. So history, bye. Science, bye. Because I'm supposed to have history electives this year. You know what I actually have? US history. It's great. Thank God I took a different class my freshman year, and so now I'm behind my freaking junior year. I'm so happy about that. I'm so grateful. I'm so happy. Okay, I need to calm down. Let's think about the positive things. So I did get an A+ in one of my classes. It might be dance, but it still counts. That is bringing my GPA up, so thank God. Oh wait. I put it into a GPA calculator. I wonder if it counts A's differently than A pluses. Let's look through my grades. Yeah, this is gonna make me feel real happy about myself. So whenever I say, like, I don't even care anymore, this is actually what's going on in my brain. So if, like, you ever hear me say that and you're like, she's bummed, like, no. Okay. Advanced pre-cal, B minus. That class is just really not treating me too well. Mind you, my GPA is unweighted. Like, that's what they submit to colleges. So even though it's an advanced class, I'm still gonna be, that B minus is still gonna be getting shown. AP Spanish, B plus. Thank you so much to that third test that I got a B minus on. Lovely. Dance, A plus, thank God. Biology, A. If there's any grades left to be put in and I get anything short of an A plus, I'm gonna have a heart attack and die, maybe. Oh wow, that's lovely. So there's actually nothing there. Oh. Great, isn't that just what I love to see? Okay, English and A. I think there's also stuff. Why are they putting it in now? Why didn't you put this in earlier? Oh, I got an A minus on my essay, and I was actually proud of that essay. Whatever, it's fine, whatever. Theater, I got an A in. I honestly think that one's a pass fail though, because that was my PE credit. History, I got a B in. I honestly, like, I'm at a point where, like, I read the feedback and I just don't even want to see it, so I just don't read it. It makes me upset. That is such a bad attitude to have, I know. I feel like if I get, yeah, I feel like my attitude's just gotten more sour this year whenever I do badly, but I think it's also because I've done so badly that I just feel like I'm not good anymore, and I kind of just need to, like, protect myself from realizing that, so I just, like, deflect and get angry. Yeah, self-aware and still do it. Can I say I'm quite a funny character? What is this? Oh, I need to text the other person in my class and see how long they made this, because honestly, I have a lot to say right now. If they wanted me to make a journal entry, oh, I would have them ready. I need to look up my school and see what the average GPA is, and if it's gonna be higher than mine. I'm well aware of that. If it's higher than 0.5, I'll be back, and if it's lower, I'll still be back. Update, I couldn't find it. Anywho, so this is, like, I guess something I've been realizing recently, but, like, I think I've already said this, I think, but, like, if imperfection were to be, like, a person, I feel like it would be me. But, like, also, no, I think, what was that? As I also think that, like, I think it's called kintsugi. Basically, like, every time you break, like, something and you, like, put it together, like, you, like, a porcelain bowl, if you broke it and you put it back together and, like, you filled it with, like, that stuff, like, the filler stuff, like, the grit or whatever it's called, the filler stuff, but, like, with gold in it, then it's, like, it makes it pretty. Okay, that was probably a bad explanation, but it's all I got for you. Basically, it's like every time you break, you repatch yourself with, like, gold. And so that's what, like, makes you, like, it makes you like a mosaic. And I feel like that's me. Because, also, hold on, I'm just, like, getting nowhere with this. I think imperfection is what makes me, like, shine. Because I literally do so much stuff wrong, all the time, literally, but, like, I always learn from it, and I always do better, and, like, what pisses me off is whenever people are like, oh, like, you need to be realistic, like, oh, you're not really that good at it, like, no, I am, I'm just learning. It's like, making a mistake these days is, like, equivalent to, like, I don't even know, something really bad, and it's like, I like to dilly-dally, and I like to, like, you know, be funny, but that doesn't mean I'm dumb. Like, it just makes me annoyed. And it's like, whenever people are like, you need to be realistic, like, I don't know, this like really inspires me to just like lock in. I feel like sometimes I just need people to underestimate me and be like, you're not really smart. So I can just like, like be like, okay, well, thank you for inspiring me. But yeah. And also, if I were to die tomorrow, I would not want to die concerned about my freaking B minus, B, and B plus. So you know what? And honestly, like, it's not really that bad. Like, it could be worse. And it, like, also, I have the last 2 years of my high school that aren't going to be in my current GPA, but they're, like, their own GPA that show that I, like, actually work hard and can do stuff. But that was also at an easier school. Like, literally, the other day, my advisor said to me, she was like, are you good at school? Or, like, do you just go to an easy school? And I was like, okay, well, thank you for saying that. I actually am good at school. Yeah, so... Thank you for making me feel great about myself. She didn't mean it in like a rude way. I think she just like, yeah. I was also like, so is that helpful? Not necessarily. Yeah. No hate to her. That seemed kind of hateful, but also so did her comment. I'm really trying to be polite, and I feel like it's coming off like I'm not. But, like, also, just, I don't have the time to deal with people misinterpreting me. I did that too much in the past, and I'm sick of it. Oh, man, I wish I was free right now. Like, let me go! Okay. I'm really trying to, like, find something positive to talk about here, but I, like, also have this whole thing I need to write, and it's 8:29, and I just want to watch Bob's Burgers because I'm exhausted, and I'm upset, and I'm annoyed, and I don't know. I just feel like I felt like I wasn't good enough for so long last year to where I'm at, like, a point where I'm just, like, maxed out on it. Like, I don't know. I'll doubt myself next year. Or maybe the year after that. I'm tired of doubting myself, and I'm tired of just being sad and feeling like I always need to do better whenever I'm doing good. And I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I'm doing great. And it's just like, I feel like every time I turn, it's a constant reminder that I can't do anything right. And it's like, oh my goodness gracious, we aren't put on this earth to be perfect human beings who never do any wrong. The whole point of life is to mess up and then do it again. And it's like, I believe that, but then whenever I actually do it, I feel like, oh, everyone's looking at me like I'm an idiot. But then again, why do I care what they think? But then again, should I care what they think? Because whenever I didn't care what people think, I got, like, crucified. So it's just like, just a constant battle of like, oh no, be yourself. Oh no, don't do that. But be yourself. Oh, don't do that either. But be yourself. Like, be yourself. And it's like, be myself or be imperfect, because I'm an imperfect self. Like, I just, like, maybe I should write this. I don't really want to write anything. I just kind of write, like, can I just, like, graduate now? But then again, I'm not necessarily ready to navigate my whole life. That sounds like an exhausting battle that I don't really think I can win at this moment. I mean, I probably could win it, but also sacrificing my mental sanity. Kind of like, I feel like those people who get A pluses in every single class. I don't know how the hell they do that. Genuinely, like, please stop it, actually. Because that would really help me, since my grades are, like, a little lower this year. So maybe let's just all, like, stick with A's, not A pluses. Because how are you getting an A plus in a core class? That doesn't make sense to me. Like, did you start doing times tables at age, like, 3 months? Like, what's going on? Hopefully this is just a page, but writing a page these days feels like fighting a war. Okay. That's the end of my yap/complain session. Normally I would end this with something positive, so let me think of that. You are perfect, and don't let anyone tell you that you're not. And also, it's hard. Life is hard, but sometimes you just gotta be like, girl, whatever, and just keep going. And even though, like, you feel like, wow, this is, like, not ideal whatsoever, you just kind of gotta be like, you know what, it's okay, I'm gonna keep going, because things will get better. Or maybe they won't, and then I'll find my right path. And maybe I won't find my right path, and maybe I'll just be on the wrong path for a minute, and then I'll find my right path. Like, eventually you're gonna find a right path. Just don't stop in hell. If you feel like you're in hell, keep walking. Or crawling, or army crawling, or running. Depends on your life. Okay, bye. This is my final statement. School makes me feel like an illiterate troglodyte 90% of the time. Well, actually, as of recent, I don't know why I'm saying so much, but I've been writing and I feel like I'm about to reach flow state, and I was gonna put this on my private story, but then I was like, nah, why put it on my private story whenever I can post it publicly? Holy bad idea. Yeah, sometimes I just kind of feel like an illiterate troglodyte. I feel like I don't even know what I'm writing. I feel like I've never written in English before. I feel like I might as well just write in Spanish, or I feel like whenever I say stuff, it makes sense to me, but it makes sense to nobody else, and that's just not a very useful skill to have. Maybe I should create my own language. No, I shouldn't. Okay, bye.